the thought first crossed my mind. I remember very, very specifically. It was in 2004. I was doing two projects. I was doing an art gallery, and I was doing an office workplace. And both of them were going on at the same time. I was the only one working on that project. I've always had that fortune that whether it's for my skill or maybe nobody cares about the projects that I did a long time ago, I was kind of left alone to my own devices, and either that or people gave me a really long leash. So at that point, this was in 2004, I'm like, well, man, I can do this, right? I'm doing two projects. I knew exactly, because I was the only one doing everything for them, I knew exactly what needed to be done when, for how long. I knew, I was point on for the client, for the contractor, for everything. So I knew I could do that. The only thing that I couldn't figure out was a mechanism to get those projects, right? And that took 10, 12 years to figure out. Obviously getting more experience along the way, but yeah, that was when I was like, oh yeah, I can do this. And not only I think I can do equal or better than most people, but I think I can have a lot of fun too. If you like somebody, whether it's a collaborator in your office or a consultant, you kind of tend to keep those same people as much as you can. And on the offices that I worked at prior to starting my own office, I was there for a really long time. On the first one, I was there for about 12 years. The second one, I was there for 8. So you basically end up with this kind of corral of people that not only you like working with them, that they're equal or better than you, but they also like you. And again, both internally and consultants, and that's how you get projects, right? From consultants. So that's on the project end. On the kind of the staffing end of things is similar too, right? The first people, when I started my own office, the first people I called were past collaborators. At first you start asking for moonlighting, freelance work, and then you're like, hey, here's a carrot. Why don't you jump over, because the water's nice over here. I think it all comes down to relationships and who, especially for larger projects like condominium buildings or commercial office towers or multi-year projects, it comes down to personality. And being, as one of my mentors used to say, being the trusted advisor for your client. And if you can do that well, word spreads. It's one of these things that you pick up the phone one day and somebody on the other side is like, hey, have you ever done a bathhouse? I'm like, well, no, who's done a bathhouse? But then immediately after is, I haven't done one, but I'm really sure I can do one. Not only the building department won't let you on the site, but laborers can't get to the site, right? So there was that entire aspect, which we ended up dealing pretty successfully. But then there was the marketing aspect, like, okay, well, what do you do in an elevator, right? Like, do we all of a sudden need to retrofit stuff that's done and installed, or even if it's not installed, but shop drawings have been reviewed and it's an order and it's in fabrication somewhere? Are there things that we need to change because we think that, you know, folks that are buying apartments in 6 months or a year, if they're buying apartments because nobody knew what was going on, is that something that people are going to want to look at or look for? One thing that I think in general architects share, I mean, we feel strongly about it, is that the cities have been around since the 1100s, right? And cities have gone through everything and more that there is to think of, and they're still here, right? That connection to people, that close proximity. Granted, that's specifically what you don't want with COVID, but people figure it out, right? And there's always that optimism and that resilience, because you depend on one another. I would tell them that is a wonderful mix of liberty and servitude, because there's a quote that I have a strong connection with Rome. I went there as a student. I met my wife there. And there was a quote, I forget where I read it, about the mayor from about 10 years ago, that he loved cycling because it was the right mix between liberty and fatigue. You know, architecture, I think it's similar because it gives you the opportunity to explore and affect the built environment, humanity, climate, and however way you want to spin it, right? Whatever you're interested in, right? Whether it's you know, human interaction, shaping cities, saving the planet, you know, whatever it is, right? There's a space for you. So there's that sort of complete liberation, but at the same time, it keeps you humble because at the end of the day, we're in the service industry, right? We serve our clients. The optimism that you need to have to succeed and to create successful projects, but at the same time, you have to be super pragmatic and make sure that those things work, that they're safe, that they fall on budget, that they're on schedule, that you're checking all the boxes that your client has, that you're fulfilling the mission of the client, whether that's, you know, having a successful retail store or having a hospital or you know, whatever it is, right? So it's that combination that I think it's invaluable, that our career gives us.